So now we look into the login process of the sample flight reservation application provided by QTP. In the previous video, we saw that when we enter a correct username and correct password, the application opens up, and we automated this process for a variety of usernames and passwords. But what if I enter a wrong username and wrong password? Then we get an error message. Let us see what happens in the application. So open the application and enter a correct username but a wrong password, and click OK. I get a error message. Click OK and I'll cancel it. So now I want to automate this process and see what happens for a different variety of usernames and passwords. So let us open QTP and let us open a new test. Then let's start recording the test. We'll open the application and then we'll enter a correct username but a wrong password. We get an error message. Click OK, click cancel, and then we'll stop this test. So first we'll add, before proceed further, we'll add a system util.run system util.run space flight 4, that's the application name and the directory of that application, and then the command. And after this, let us parameterize the values of our username and password. Yes. So then we'll enter a variety of usernames and passwords. For example, no username and correct password, correct username but no password, and then wrong username and correct password. Let us test for these 4 conditions. But in the login process, we have said that we have to record an error message. Why do we have to record the error message? To know whether the error message corresponds to the error. For example, what if my error is something but the error message says something else? It will mislead the user. So to handle this, we have something called output value step. Output value step is a step in which a certain object property is captured. This helps us to know a particular property of an object when the application is running. So when the application is running, I'll capture a particular property of an object and I'll save it so that we know whether it is correct or not. So to do this, let's open QTP. Let's click on active screen. Active screen gives the snapshot of the screen which we are currently viewing, that is the screen which my cursor is clicked to. So if I click on the next line in the VB script, it shows the next one. So in the same way, I'll click on the error message screen and I get the window. Here I'll insert an output value to save this error message. So insert output value. I'll click I have to right click, insert, and then I have to click OK. Now I'll click on the text because I want to save the text. I'll change the name as error message and modify my data table as error message. Click OK. So now that step has been added. So I'll enter a wait statement. No, wait for 2 seconds. So now we'll see what happens when we run the test. Please keep looking at the data table. Here the column error message is updated after every test. And the error message corresponds to the particular error. Yes. Now the test is done. But after the test, we see that error message has disappeared. We'll see what happens. It comes up in the results viewer. Okay. In the result viewer, we can see that our test has passed. We can see the tick marks on all the 4 iterations, and if we open them, we'll see the error message. You can see the error message, please try again. And if we click on the data table here, we can see the whole data table which is saved, and this can be printed from the print option. So we have got the proper error messages. But there is one problem in this test, that is, even though it is a failure of my test, that is, I entered a wrong username and password, it says I have passed. I don't want this. I wanted to say that it is actually a fail of my login process. So what do? Is I add a statement, and that statement is called Reporter.ReportEvent. So this statement, what it actually does is, it says that if this statement is executed, it will say whether the test has passed or failed, or a warning has to be displayed. So, and its syntax is Reporter.ReportEvent, event status, report step name and details. I'll explain this in detail. So let us enter this Reporter.ReportEvent statement. So Reporter.ReportEvent, and after that, if we say it asks me what should be my event status, that is, if this statement is executed, then should it be a pass, should it be done, should it be fail, or should there be a warning? I'll say it should be a fail. I'll click on fail, and then I'll comma report step name. The step name is login failed, and what is the detail? I should say that incorrect username or password. Now let us execute the test. Let us remove this wait statement. Let us execute and see what happens. Is executing. Then let us see the results window. Yes. So we can see that it actually says that the test has failed. This means that the login process has failed in all the tests because I provided an incorrect username or password, and this corresponds to the Reporter.ReportEvent step. You can see that the fail is the result, make fail, and then login failed is the object. It says that login failed, and incorrect username or password is the detail. So using Reporter.ReportEvent, we can change the result of a test to either pass or fail according to our need. And again, in the data table, we can see the whole thing. So this is how we use the error message output value step and Reporter.ReportEvent statement.